In the mid-70s, my darling husband told me it was time for me to get my driver's license. So he went to a driving school and he paid for all my lessons in advance. The man used to come once a week and pick me up, and I didn't like him very much. He was old and cranky. Sometimes when he came to pick me up, I'd hide underneath the kitchen table. And then the guy would go and call up Paul and say, "She's not home." And Paul's like, "What do you mean she's not home? She doesn't have a car and we live on acreage." Anyway, that went on for quite some time. So this one day, he told me to stop. Well, I had to think about it. I don't just stop. I had to think about stopping. And when I did stop, I parked in sand and the car spun around twice and we hit a tree. The old codger, he's going, "You're never going to get your license, girlie, never." In Australia, most people have a manual license, which means they can drive a manual or an automatic. But Paul came up with this really good idea that maybe with my 17 driving lessons, all in a manual car, I was getting worse, not better, that just to go for an automatic license. So enter Gay McGee. She's my female instructor, and straight away we had a real connection. She knew I was dyslexic, and she'd say to me, "On your left hand, Susie, you've got 2 rings, and on your right hand side you've got 1. So 1 ring right, 2 rings left." And I could understand that because I'm sort of on the spectrum. So Paul knew that I wouldn't actually get my license fair and square, so he invited Gay and her husband and her daughter to the music hall. And they came and had dinner, and Paul sent champagne to the table. And like we always did, we had her little girl backstage and we took photos with her. In the finale, we used to always pick the kids up and bring them on the stage and then take them back to the seats at the end. And so we did that, and then the next day I was actually going for my driving test. So Gay takes me out on my lesson before the test, and I'm so nervous. The left 2 rings and the right 1 ring weren't exactly working, and I went down a one-way street the wrong way. Oops, there was a lot of hooting going on. Story of my life. We get into the driving school, and here comes Paul, and all the other instructors were all like yelling out, "G'day, Paul, how you going, mate? Like, put it there," because like everybody knew him, and he was so friendly, my husband. So there seemed to be a bit of like with the old ear and the touching on the end of the nose, and Gay gets out, the guy gets in, takes me out. On the way out, I'm hitting all the bumps on things like full pelt, and I almost collect the gate. So I did the most abominable 3-point turn and he didn't even ask me to do a hill start. Came back in and I got my license the first time. It was so exciting. Still didn't know the rules of the road, mind you. And I have joined various groups in Australia, and there's a group that talk about the history of the Gold Coast. And about 2 months ago, the little girl whose mother taught me to drive contacted me, and I was so thrilled. And she's looking for the photograph of all of us back then and that day. And I thought, wow, it's just come like full circle. I still don't know the rules of the road. I have a terrible reputation in Australia and in America. And one of the things Paul used to say is that Sue can't drive a manual. As a matter of fact, she can't drive an automatic either. So there you have it.